Last February, a single ice storm knocked out power for 1.2 million Americans, and one man in Ohio survived 3 freezing nights using only a $14 item from Walmart. Most budget survival gear fails, but these 13 under $20 picks, they're battle-tested in 2025's real crises. Hey everyone, I've been prepping since 2014, but nothing prepared me for what happened during the Great Midwest Freeze of 2025. A retired teacher in Dayton was stranded when roads iced over. No heat, no cell signal, but he stayed alive using a $12 solar radio and a $9 water purifier, both under $20. I analyzed FEMA data, survival forums, and first-hand accounts from 2024-2025 emergencies to find the only cheap items that actually work when seconds count. In this video, I'll show you all 13, including one food stash that tastes weirdly like your grandma's basement, but keeps you fed for weeks. While you watch, comment below. Have you noticed shortages, weird price spikes, or empty shelves on basics like water, batteries, or canned goods? Your local intel could be the early warning someone needs before 2026 hits. Item 1, $12 hand crank solar radio/flashlight, Eaton Scorpion 2. Imagine this. It's 3 a.m. in rural Iowa, winds howling like a freight train just derailed in your backyard. Trees are snapping, power's gone. Cell service? Dead. Your kids are wide-eyed in the dark and you have no idea if help is coming or if the storm's getting worse. That's exactly what happened to Marcus Rivera during the June 2024 Midwest derecho, a freak windstorm that flattened entire neighborhoods across Nebraska, Iowa, and Illinois. While neighbors scrambled with dying phones and useless candles, Marcus reached for one thing he'd bought months earlier at a hardware store clearance bin, the Eaton Scorpion 2. For $12, he cranked it for 60 seconds, just 1 minute, and the radio crackled to life with no AA weather alerts. Then he switched it to flashlight mode, bathing his living room in light. Later, he used the USB port to give his wife's phone just enough juice to send a text. "We're okay." That message reached her sister in Chicago before the roads reopened. The Scorpion 2 doesn't need batteries. Sunlight charges it during the day. A quick hand crank revives it at night. It's tough as a boot, small enough to toss in a glove box or kitchen drawer, and runs for hours on a single windup. While fancy survival gadgets gather dust or need replacement parts, this thing just works. No subscription, no Wi-Fi, no panic, just light, information, and a lifeline when everything else fails. In 2025, with blackouts lasting longer and cell towers more fragile than ever, this little orange rectangle might be the smartest $12 you'll ever spend. Item 2, $8 pack of 12-hour fuel tablets. Picture this. It's 15 degrees in northern Maine, and the power's been out for 2 days. Most homes are dark, cold, and silent, but inside a tiny cabin near Bangor, 72-year-old Eleanor Hayes is boiling water on her kitchen counter, using nothing but a metal cup and a tiny white tablet she bought online for less than the price of a latte. These aren't magic pills, they're 12-hour fuel tablets, compact little cylinders made of solidified alcohol that burn clean, steady, and hot enough to boil water in under 10 minutes. Eleanor learned about them from her grandson, a volunteer with a local disaster response team. During the brutal January 2025 cold snap, when natural gas lines froze and grocery stores ran out of propane, her fuel tablets kept her warm, fed, and hydrated while others waited hours for help. One pack costs just $8 and fits in your pocket, purse, or glove box. No flamethrower, no complicated setup. Just light it with a match, place your pot or cup above it, and wait. Unlike bulky camping stoves that fail in extreme cold or need special fuel canisters, these tablets work in snow, rain, or even inside a car, with ventilation, of course. They've got a 10-year shelf life, weigh next to nothing, and don't leak, explode, or expire. In fact, during the Texas grid failure earlier this year, Red Cross relief workers handed these out by the thousands because they were the only reliable heat source families could use indoors safely. Your fancy electric kettle, useless without power, but a $4 tin of fuel tablets? That's independence in your pocket when the world goes quiet. Item 3, 15 rechargeable LED lantern. In the pitch-black chaos of Hurricane Helene's aftermath in western North Carolina last September, electricity vanished for weeks. But in a damaged duplex in Asheville, 9-year-old Mia wasn't scared, because her mom had hung a soft glowing orb in the center of their living room. It wasn't a battery-guzzling camping lantern or a flickering candle. It was a $15 rechargeable LED lantern she'd grabbed during a Walmart sale the month before. During the day, it sat on the windowsill, soaking up sunlight. At night, it bathed the room in warm, steady light for over 20 hours on a single charge. When the storm hit, that little lantern became their command center, powering late-night feedings for Mia's baby brother, lighting first aid kits, and even charging a neighbor's asthma inhaler via its hidden USB port. What makes this lantern a 2025 prepper essential isn't just the light, it's how it thinks for you. Drop it, it survives. Submerge it in floodwater, it's water resistant. Forget to charge it, just plug it into any power bank, car adapter, or even a hand crank charger. Unlike cheap LED flashlights that die after 2 nights, this lantern casts 360-degree light so you can actually see your whole space. No more tripping over dog toys or spilling soup in the dark. And get this, during the February 2025 Portland ice storm, a Facebook group of urban preppers shared how these lanterns doubled as emergency signals, bright enough for rescue crews to spot through dense fog. At $15, it's less than half the cost of most tactical alternatives, yet more reliable than gear 3 times the price. It doesn't scream doomsday, it just quietly works, day after day, storm after storm, while your phone battery drains and your fancy gear collects dust. When the grid fails, light isn't a luxury, it's sanity, and for the price of a pizza, you can keep yours burning long after the neighborhood goes dark. Item 4, $10 LifeStraw Flex with gravity filter. Last March, in a flooded neighborhood outside Nashville, 28-year-old nurse Jasmine Carter waded through knee-deep water to check on her elderly neighbor, only to find the tap water running brown and foul-smelling. The city's water main had ruptured during record spring rains, leaving thousands without safe drinking water for days. But Jasmine didn't panic. She pulled a slim blue tube from her emergency go bag, the LifeStraw Flex with gravity filter. For just $10, she'd bought it during a REI clearance sale weeks earlier. She filled a dirty bucket from the tap, hooked up the filter, and within minutes, crystal clear safe water began dripping into a clean jug. No waiting, no boiling, no weird aftertaste. The LifeStraw Flex removes 99.999% of bacteria, parasites, and microplastics. Yes, even the nasty stuff showing up in U.S. water supplies in 2025, like PFS, forever chemicals. What makes this version special is the gravity feature. Hang it from a tree branch or shower rod, pour in questionable water, and let gravity do the work while you tend to other emergencies. During the Ohio chemical spill earlier this year, families used these exact filters to turn contaminated tap water into something safe to drink, while bottled water vanished from shelves in under an hour. Unlike basic straws that only work when you suck directly, the Flex lets you fill bottles, cook meals, or even hydrate a pet. It's lightweight, lasts up to 1,000 gallons, that's over 7,500 glasses of water, and fits in a kitchen drawer or car console. Your Brita pitcher? Useless against bacteria or chemical runoff. But this $10 tube, it's a silent guardian that's already proven itself in real American crises this year. And in a world where water emergencies are no longer if, but when, having one isn't paranoia, it's common sense with a price tag smaller than your lunch order. Item 5, $6 collapsible water container. 2.5 gallon. In the sweltering heat of a Phoenix summer blackout last July, Maria Sanchez and her 2 kids were stuck in their apartment for 36 hours. With no AC, and worse, no running water after the city shut off pressure to repair a burst main. But while neighbors stood in line at gas stations for overpriced bottled water, Maria calmly pulled a flat, folded disc from under her bed. With a quick twist, it popped open into a sturdy 2.5-gallon water container, bright blue, BPA-free, and ready to fill. She'd bought it online for just $6 during a back-to-school sale, thinking, might as well. That might as well turned into a lifeline. She'd filled it the night before the blackout hit, following a vague weather alert on her phone. Now, that single container held enough clean water for drinking, sponge baths, and even flushing the toilet once. What makes this collapsible jug a 2025 must-have isn't just the price, it's the space it saves. When empty, it flattens to less than an inch thick. Toss it in a pantry, slip it behind the couch, or stash it in your trunk without eating up precious urban square footage. During the California aquifer shortages earlier this year, survival groups reported that families with these containers were the only ones who didn't panic when boil notices dropped, because they already had safe, stored water ready. Unlike rigid jugs that crack in cold cars or leak in closets, this one's made of food-grade TPU that bends but never breaks. And at $6, you can afford to keep 2 or 3, one for home, one for your car, one for your bug-out bag. In 2025, with droughts, pipe failures, and infrastructure stress hitting cities from Atlanta to Seattle, water security isn't about stockpiling pallets of plastic bottles. It's about smart, simple storage that costs less than your morning coffee and fits where nothing else can. Because when the tap runs dry, the real luxury isn't running water. It's peace of mind in a foldable blue jug. Item 6, $14. Water purification tablets. potable aqua. In the quiet town of East Palestine, Ohio, still reeling from the 2023 chemical train derailment, a high school science teacher named Darren Cole kept a small brown bottle in his glove box all through 2024 and into 2025. He didn't think he'd need it until last April, when a sudden advisory warned residents not to drink, cook with, or even shower in tap water after a new contaminant spike. While panic buying emptied store shelves in under an hour, Darren simply filled his kitchen sink with tap water, dropped in 2 tiny white tablets from that bottle, potable aqua water purification tablets, and waited 30 minutes. Within half an hour, the water was safe to drink. Each bottle costs just $14 and treats up to 50 liters, enough for one person for over 2 weeks. These aren't newfangled survival gimmicks. They've been trusted by the U.S. military since the 1940s and are still standard issue for soldiers deployed overseas. What's shocking is how few civilians knew about them, until 2025, when water scares hit 11 states from Florida to Washington due to aging pipes, chemical leaks, and algae blooms. Unlike filters that clog or require pumping, these tablets work instantly in any container: your Nalgene, a coffee mug, even a plastic bag. They kill bacteria, viruses, and giardia, and leave barely any aftertaste, just a faint hint of iodine easily masked with a vitamin C tablet. During the Great Lakes algae crisis last summer, campers and lakeside homeowners used them to turn murky lake water into safe drinking water when their filters couldn't handle the toxin load. And because they're lightweight and shelf-stable for up to 4 years, they're perfect for apartment dwellers with zero storage space. Your Brita, it won't stop viruses. Your bottled water, it runs out. But a $14 bottle of tablets, that's 50 chances to stay hydrated when the system fails. And in today's America, that's not fear-mongering, it's just being ready. Item 7, Gallus Augustin Farms 30-meal bucket. Last winter, in a snowbound apartment complex outside Buffalo, New York, college student Devin Mitchell lost power for 5 days during a historic blizzard. With frozen pipes, no heat, and grocery stores closed, most of his neighbors survived on stale chips and expired granola bars. But Devin, he cracked open a bright red bucket he'd bought months earlier from Costco's clearance end cap, Augustin Farms 30-meal emergency food pail, for just $18. Inside, creamy potato soup, cheesy macaroni, strawberry granola, and hearty beef stew, all sealed in nitrogen-packed pouches with a 25-year shelf life. All he needed was boiling water, thanks fuel tablets, and within minutes, he was eating hot, real food while others nibbled on crackers. What shocked him wasn't just the taste, it was how filling and familiar it felt. It tasted like my grandma's kitchen, he later posted in a Reddit Our Preppers thread that went viral in early 2025. That post sparked a wave of budget-conscious preppers flooding discount retailers for these buckets after realizing gourmet survival food didn't have to cost $200. Unlike chalky protein bars or mystery meat MREs, Augustin Farms uses actual freeze-dried fruits, vegetables, and grains you recognize. Each bucket gives 30 full servings, enough for one person for 10 days, or a family of 3 for a long weekend. And at under 60 cents per meal, it's cheaper than fast food. In 2025, with inflation pushing canned goods up by 22%, per USDA data, and grocery shortages hitting urban centers harder than ever, this bucket isn't just practical, it's economic armor. You don't need a basement or a bunker, it stacks neatly in a closet, under a bed, or in a car trunk, and when the next supply chain hiccup hits, whether from wildfires, strikes, or port delays, you won't be begging for ramen, you'll be stirring a steaming pot of apple cinnamon oats while the world outside waits in line. For less than the cost of a takeout pizza, you buy comfort, calories, and calm. And in a crisis, that's worth more than gold. Item 8, $9, Beech Nut Survival Peanut Butter Packets. You've probably passed these in the baby aisle without a second thought, tiny foil-wrapped squeeze packs of smooth peanut butter marketed for toddlers. But in 2025, a growing number of urban preppers are quietly stocking up on them for one brutally simple reason. They're the ultimate survival food hiding in plain sight. Take Sarah Lynn, a paramedic in Austin, Texas. During the freak February freeze that knocked out power across the city, her apartment stayed dark for 3 days. Her fridge was useless. But in her emergency kit? A box of Beech Nut peanut butter packets, just $9 for 12 servings. Each one delivers 200 calories, 7 grams of protein, and 0 prep. No cooking, no cleanup, just tear, squeeze, and eat. Sarah shared on TikTok how she mixed one with oats and a splash of filtered water to make a surprisingly satisfying survival cookie dough, a post that's now been viewed over 2 million times. What makes these packets genius isn't just nutrition, it's resilience. They need no refrigeration, last for years, and won't melt in your car like chocolate or spoil like nuts. Unlike protein bars that harden into bricks or powdered meals that require hot water, these work when you're exhausted, cold, or injured. During the Portland boil water advisory last spring, families used them to keep kids fed without risking contaminated water for cooking. And because they're shelf-stable, compact, and socially acceptable, no one questions a mom buying baby food. They fly under the radar, unlike bulk buckets or MREs that scream doomsday. In a world where grocery prices jumped 18% in 2025 and pantry staples vanished during minor disruptions, these humble packets are affordable, stealthy, and shockingly effective. They're not just for toddlers anymore, they're for anyone who knows that in a real emergency, the difference between panic and peace might come down to 200 calories in a $0.75 foil pouch. And honestly, it still tastes like childhood, just with higher stakes. Item 9, $12 multi-tool spork set. In a cramped Brooklyn studio apartment during the July 2025 NYC subway blackout, grad student Leo Ramirez found himself stuck at home with no power, a half-frozen burrito, and exactly 0 usable utensils. His dishwasher was mid-cycle when the lights went out, but in his kitchen junk drawer, buried under takeout menus and loose batteries, was a sleek titanium spork he'd grabbed on Amazon Prime Day for $12. Not just a spork, though. This one had a serrated knife edge, a bottle opener, and a tiny flathead screwdriver built into the handle. Leo used the knife edge to cut his thawing burrito in half, the spoon bowl to eat it, and the bottle opener to crack open a warm but morale-boosting soda from his emergency stash. That night, he posted a photo of his fancy blackout dinner on Instagram with the caption, "My $12 spork outperformed my $300 kitchen set." The post blew up, sparking a mini trend among urban dwellers tired of bulky survival kits that never get used. What makes this multi-tool spork a 2025 essential isn't just its function, it's how normal it looks. No tactical sheath, no aggressive branding, just a lightweight, dishwasher-safe utensil that fits in a pencil case or glove box. Made from aerospace-grade titanium, it won't rust, bend, or snap, even when you're prying open a stubborn can of beans. Unlike flimsy plastic cutlery that snaps in half or cheap metal sets that corrode, this one lasts for years. During the Seattle port strike earlier this year, when grocery deliveries stalled and people resorted to eating canned goods straight from the tin, survival bloggers praised this exact spork for being the only thing that didn't give me metal mouth. It weighs less than your AirPods, costs less than a movie ticket, and solves a dozen tiny crises you never see coming, like opening a medicine bottle or tightening a loose screw on your glasses. In a world where survival gear often feels over-engineered or intimidating, this humble spork is the quiet hero. Useful, unassuming, and always ready. And yes, it still opens your emergency beer, because even in a blackout, you deserve that small win. Item 10, $16 emergency sleeping bag. SOL survive outdoors longer. Last November, during an unexpected early snowstorm in the Colorado Rockies, 24-year-old hiker Jenna Morales got stranded overnight after her GPS died and her car slid off a remote forest service road. With temperatures plunging to 10 degrees and her phone long dead, she crawled into the back seat, wrapped herself in the thin fleece blanket she kept just in case, and started to shiver uncontrollably. But then she remembered the crinkly orange pouch tucked in her glove box, a $16 emergency sleeping bag from Survive Outdoors Longer, SOL. She tore it open, slipped inside, and within minutes, her body heat was trapped by the reflective mylar lining, radiating back at her like a personal furnace. By morning, she was cold, but alive. Rangers later told her that without that bag, hypothermia would have set in within hours. What makes this sleeping bag a 2025 urban and outdoor essential isn't just its performance, it's how absurdly compact it is. It weighs just 4.5 ounces and packs smaller than a soda can. You can stash it in a purse, a backpack, or even your work briefcase without noticing it's there. Unlike bulky camping sleeping bags that mold in closets or cost hundreds, this one costs less than a tank of gas and lasts indefinitely. During the Appalachian Trail cold snap in early 2025, multiple rescued hikers credited this exact bag with saving their lives. But it's not just for adventurers. In cities like Chicago and Minneapolis, where winter blackouts are becoming more frequent, families now keep one per person in their emergency kits, just in case they're forced to sleep in a cold apartment or evacuation center. The material reflects up to 90% of body heat, is waterproof, and even doubles as a ground tarp or emergency signal. That bright orange color screams, "Help me," from the air. At $16, it's cheaper than most fast fashion hoodies, but unlike that trendy jacket, this one won't fail you when your world goes dark, wet, and freezing. Because when survival comes down to body heat, size doesn't matter, but $16 might just buy you another sunrise. Item 11, $13. Nitrile gloves, 100 pack. In the middle of flu season 2025, pharmacy technician Marcus Boyd in Detroit noticed something unsettling. The same customers kept returning, not for medicine, but for gloves. Not the flimsy latex kind, but thick, powder-free nitrile gloves sold in bulk. Then came the city's water main crisis in March, when lead levels spiked and residents were told to avoid skin contact with tap water while showering or cleaning. Suddenly, everyone needed protection, not just from germs, but from their own pipes. Marcus used his employee discount to grab a 100 pack of nitrile gloves for $13, thinking it was overkill. But within a week, he was using them to handle contaminated dishes, change his toddler's diaper during a boil water notice, and even sort through flood-damaged boxes in his basement after a sewer backup. What most people don't realize is that nitrile gloves aren't just for doctors or crime scene investigators. They're one of the cheapest, most versatile tools in a modern survival kit. Unlike latex, they don't tear easily, cause allergies, or degrade in heat. They resist chemicals, bloodborne pathogens, and even mild solvents, making them perfect for everything from first aid to cleaning up after a storm. During the Ohio wastewater spill earlier this year, Red Cross volunteers handed out nitrile gloves alongside masks because bare hands absorb toxins faster than anyone expected. And at just 13 cents per pair, a $13 bulk pack lasts months, even with daily use. You can stash a few in your car, your purse, your bug-out bag, or your kitchen junk drawer. They take up no space, never expire, and could be the thin blue barrier between you and a nasty infection, chemical burn, or contaminated surface. In 2025, with antibiotic-resistant bugs on the rise and urban infrastructure under strain, your hands are your first point of contact and your first line of defense. A box of gloves won't power your phone or boil your water, but it might keep you from needing a hospital visit when help is hours away. And honestly, they make changing your car's oil or handling mystery leftovers feel like you're starring in your own disaster thriller, minus the danger. Item 12, $19 emergency poncho plus shelter combo. During Hurricane Milton's chaotic landfall in Florida last October, 68-year-old retiree Evelyn Cho found herself evacuating with only 90 seconds to grab essentials. She left behind photos, jewelry, even her cat's favorite toy, but she didn't forget the crinkly yellow bundle hanging by her front door, a $19 emergency poncho that doubled as a survival shelter. Stranded on a flooded highway for nearly 12 hours, Evelyn used it not just to stay dry in the torrential rain, but to create a makeshift lean-to against her car door, shielding herself and her grandson from wind and flying debris. By sunrise, dozens of stranded motorists were huddled under similar ponchos, bright yellow, neon orange, making them easy for Coast Guard drones to spot from above. That's the secret power of this unassuming piece of gear. It's not just rainwear. Made from reinforced heat-reflective mylar with sealed seams, it's fully waterproof, windproof, and doubles as an emergency tarp, ground cover, or even a signal panel. Unlike cheap dollar store ponchos that tear in a light breeze, this one has grommets, snap closures, and hood vents, features borrowed from military-grade designs, but sold to civilians for under $20 in 2025. After the storm, FEMA field reports noted that survivors using these dual-use ponchos had significantly lower rates of exposure-related illness, and it's not just for hurricanes. During the Oregon wildfire evacuations in August, families used them to block ash from entering their cars while sleeping in parking lots. In cities like Houston and Atlanta, where sudden flash floods are now routine, many keep one in their work bag or glove box because you never know when your quick coffee run turns into an all-night ordeal on a submerged street. At 19 it costs less than most rain jackets, packs smaller than a water bottle, and weighs almost nothing. But when the sky opens up and the world turns wet, cold, and chaotic, this single sheet of smartly designed plastic might be the difference between misery and survival, and visibility, because, in an emergency, being seen is just as important as staying dry. Item 13, $7, Stormproof matches, UCO. In the smoke-choked hills of western Oregon last September, wildfire evacuee Tyler Briggs lost everything, his home, his truck, even his phone, but he still had one thing in his pocket, a small red tin of UCO Stormproof matches bought for $7 at a local REI during a summer sale. With ash falling like snow and temperatures near 100 degrees, Tyler and two neighbors took refuge in a dry creek bed. They had water, but no way to signal for help, until Tyler struck one of those matches. Even in thick smoke and 20-mile-per-hour winds, the flame didn't flicker. It burned bright, blue-white, and steady for a full 15 seconds, long enough to ignite a bundle of damp bark they'd gathered. That tiny fire did three things. It boiled water, warmed their hands, and most critically created a column of smoke that caught the eye of a search drone 2 miles away. Rescuers later told them that without that visible signal, they might have been overlooked for days. That's the power of Stormproof matches in 2025. Unlike regular matches or cheap lighters that fail in humidity, wind, or rain, Yuko's version is dipped in a chemical compound that reignites even after being submerged in water. Each match can be relit up to 5 times, and the waterproof case holds 25 matches, enough for weeks of emergencies. During the Appalachian winter blackouts earlier this year, off-grid families used them to light wood stoves when their electric igniters failed. And in urban settings, they've become a quiet favorite among apartment preppers who know that a candle won't cut it when you need real fire, fast. At just $7, they cost less than a fast food combo, yet offer one of the most primal survival advantages: control over flame. No batteries, no charging, no moving parts, just reliable, wind-defying fire in your pocket. In a world where power grids falter and supply chains wobble, fire remains the original lifeline, and these little red tins keep it alive, no matter what the sky throws at you. Let's be honest, 2026 isn't coming in gently. Between rolling blackouts, water advisories, supply chain hiccups, and climate-driven chaos, being unprepared isn't just risky, it's avoidable. And the best part, you don't need a bunker, a credit line, or tactical gear to stay safe. As we've seen, real people, from Ohio teachers to Brooklyn students to Oregon evacuees, are surviving modern crises with simple, affordable tools that cost less than $20 each. These 13 items aren't theoretical. They've been tested in real American emergencies in 2024 and 2025. They've kept families fed, warm, informed, and visible when everything else failed. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you noticed empty shelves, strange price hikes, or sudden shortages on things like water, batteries, canned goods, or even toilet paper in your town lately? Drop a comment below with your zip code and what you're seeing. Your observation might be the early warning someone else needs to get ready before it's too late. If this video helped you spot real value in a world full of survival scams, do me a quick favor. Hit like. It tells YouTube this isn't just fear-mongering, but practical prep that works. And subscribe for more no BS research-backed guides that cut through the hype and focus on what actually matters when seconds count. Stay alert. Stay ready, and remember, sometimes the smallest $7 item makes the biggest difference.